Welcome to the Headshots Podcast with Dr. Nicole, a 1-hour conversation on mental wellness to improve your look and outlook. During the show, we will talk about a variety of topics which impact you from the inside out. Each show is designed with 3 parts: lights, camera, and action. In our lights segment, we will shed light on a topic around a mental health concern. In our camera segment, we will focus on that mental health concern, educate, and raise awareness. And in our action segment, we will give 3 steps to improve your look and your outlook. So join us for the Headshots Podcast with Dr. Nicole. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Headshots, the Headshots Podcast. This is a 1-hour conversation on mental wellness to improve your look and your outlook. I'm Dr. Nicole Johnson. I'm a licensed counselor, assistant professor with experience treating persons with addictions and who have lived in trauma. Thank you to my live audience for being with me again another week. And also thank you for all those who are watching in the replay. We appreciate you and we want you to be mentally well. For the past couple of weeks on Headshots, we've been talking about election stress. And with the situation that's going on, votes still being counted, no one being declared the winner as of yet, we are still dealing with a lot of stress around the election. All week long, I've talked to friends and family members, and I've been watching the TV myself and the news. I've seen the protests. I've heard about the court cases. And so there is still a lot of buzz around the election. So tonight on Headshots, we're going to continue our conversation around election stress. But I want to talk to you about your thoughts. I want to talk to you about what you've been thinking about in the past couple of weeks. I want to help you reload your mind. I want you to help you get your mind back online. Before the election was coming, there were things you were thinking about, things you were working on, things that you were engaged in, plans you might have had, ideas. And may seem like for you, ever since the election season started, ever since we came up to this week, maybe your mind hasn't been, where you would like it to be. If that's the case, then this is a great show for you. This is a show where we'll talk about what's going on in our mind. So let's talk about headshots. So the Headshots Podcast is really talking about our thoughts tonight. All of us have thoughts, right? All of us think. And sometimes when we are in our most stressful moments, our thoughts can get cloudy, they can get jumbled. We can find ourselves not really knowing exactly what we think. And so I want to help you clear it up tonight. I want to help you reconnect your mind back to the things that you had planned before we got into this election season. I want to help you clear the way so that you can reconnect to yourself, to your positive thoughts, and live past the election. The election is not yet over. It hasn't been fully and completely decided. But one thing we do know is that there will be a declared winner. And regardless to who that winner is, me as an individual, you as an individual, you're going to live on. Yes, some things may be different, but you're going to have to get your mind back on track if you intend to reach your goals. I know we're in a pandemic. I know we have COVID-19. I know we're experiencing a lot of things, but your mind can come back online. So let's talk. With all the stressors that we've been going through this past week, and I think I've heard the word stress And even on TV, I've heard everybody talking about election stress, election stress. And so we've heard a lot about stress. You may be finding it hard to focus. Every conversation that I've had, every person that I have engaged with this week, the election has been on in the conversation somewhere. Maybe it's been like, "Hi, how are you doing?" And somebody brings up the election. Or somebody may say, "I'm not going to talk about the election anymore." And somewhere in the conversation, the election slides back in. It has been on everyone's mind, and it has caused a lot of stress. According to the Harvard Health Publishing Company, they report that when you're under a lot of stress, people may feel disorganized, and you may even experience memory loss. So, tonight we want to talk about your brain on stress, your brain being impacted by the stress of everyday life, including the election. So, I started thinking about your brain on stress. Like, what is that compared to? What is that like? What does that look like? And I started thinking about my computer. I started thinking about my laptop. And I started thinking about what happens to my computer when I am connected to the internet, but it seems like the internet is not connected. What happens when I lose my connection? You may need to reload the page. You know how you see that sign that comes up in the dot? They have like a meme or GIF. It says reloading, reloading, reloading. And sometimes that's how my computer acts. If the Wi-Fi, if the connection has been interrupted, I may have to reload the page. And it may take some time, depending on how fast I can get reconnected. Well, friends, that is how our connection is when we are dealing with the connection of trying to connect when we're having uh, stress in our mind. That's the same thing that happens when I can find my brain connection being interrupted by stress. And so I may find myself wanting to connect with those around me, wanting to connect with some plans that I've had. Maybe I had this idea, and before this stress presented itself, I was on my way to writing that book. I was on my way to preparing for that marathon that I'm going to run one day. I might have been on my way fixing and doing a project in my home. I may be on my way starting a business, but I found out that this stress, the stressors of this election, has distracted me. It's taken my brain offline. And so, just like my computer needs to reconnect and reload the page, a lot of us tonight, we're still waiting for results for the election, but a lot of us are finding that I have spent so much brain energy thinking about the election and being stressed about the results. I find those ideas and those dreams and those things I had planned to do, I find them slipping away. I find that I cannot reconnect to those things that I wanted to do before the election came. I did have some ideas. And so there's a disconnect between what's going on in my brain, my dreams, my ideas, and my thoughts, and stress. There is something that has interrupted my brain's connection. There's a direct connection between the type of thoughts that you have and you're having and how you feel and how you act. It's one of the premises of what we call cognitive behavior therapy. It means that if I change the way I think, I'll change the way I feel. And if I change the way I feel, I'll change the way I act or behave or live out life. One of the challenges with stress is that stress interrupts that process. Stress influences what I think. And if what I think influences what I feel and also influences how I act, then stress is directly connected to how I'm acting right now. So, how are you acting? What's going on for you? Are you finding yourself, as we talked last week when my sisters were here, we talked about the fact that, there's arguments that may happen because the stress has caused me to disconnect from my ability to really have those positive relationships. And I find myself being argumentative. Maybe the stress has disconnected me from being able to eat healthy. And I find myself grabbing those snacks and eating those things I said I wasn't going to eat because I'm stressed right now. So give me the popcorn, give me the ice cream. I need that snack right now. Maybe the stress has caused me to isolate. And I'm thinking more about not wanting to connect with people, not wanting to be around others. And so for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about stress. We've been talking about, what's going on with you. So I want to know, what have you been thinking about as we have been going into this week? And I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know, what are the thoughts that you've been having? What are the things that seem to have interrupted your day, interrupted your ability during this election time to really move forward? What are the thoughts that you've been worried, things that you've been worried about, and the thoughts that you've had? I know that we posed this question earlier, and we did get a response from Yunsamo. And Yunsamo was talking about how she's been thinking about the week, about stress response, been doing a lot of self reflection, and wanting to know, how can I build coping strategies to heal from and manage chronic stressors, meaning that there are things that happen in our life that cause stress, but now we are dealing with compacted stress, COVID-19, protests, police shootings. We're dealing with financial problems, all of these things. And Yunsa was saying, how do I deal with this? How do I manage how I respond to stress? And a lot of it has to go with what I think and how I use my thoughts to help me with a better response. So I want to know, you're my audience tonight. I want to know, put it in the chat box. We're going to talk about it. What have you been thinking about this week? What are the thoughts that are on your mind? What are the things that have caused you to be still, that have caused you to not be able to flow the way you feel like you should flow? For me, one of the thought has been, what is going to happen when the results come out? One of the thoughts that has been on my mind is, how are people going to react? Whether they win or lose, how are they going to react to what's going on? And so that's really interesting for me, because I need to know that people are going to really, really, you know, have a moment and go. You understand? I really want to know that people are going to be able to connect with me and feel okay. And that's, I've been a little worried about that. I've been worried about that. So what have you been worried about? What are the things that have been challenging you? So let's talk about, I've shared what's been challenging me, what I've been thinking about, the responses. Is it going to be violent? Are there going to be more protests? Are people going to be angry? Are we going to know who the president is before the end of the month, before the end of the year? Is there going to be a peaceful transition of power? All of these thoughts are on my mind, and it may be on yours as well. And so I want to bring some focus to this topic: thoughts reloading. How do we get our thoughts to reload? How do we get our thoughts to reload? Thoughts are powerful. And as we bring the camera to this, we need to realize that thoughts are powerful and that we are thinking certain things, and it's definitely going to impact how we feel about moving forward, how we feel about our ability to move forward. So I'm interested in my guest tonight. I'm interested in you. You're my guest tonight. You're my crew tonight. You're my crowd tonight. And so let's talk. I thought about the how will other countries respond to the election results. Thank you, Jessica. Yes, that's something that's on our mind. How will other countries, will they think that they have the upper hand on us? Isn't that something to worry about? Like, will they perceive us as being weak and now they can just come into our country? It speaks of our safety, and we can have thoughts of fear. We can have thoughts of insecurity around that. And so, how are other people thinking about us? That's a powerful thought. That's a powerful thought. Thank you so much, Jessica. Is there anybody else that want to share a thought about what you're thinking about or what you've been thinking about around this election? What is on your mind as a family person? People's response to the election. Another concern. How? Oh, thank you, Shalonda. How will we move on as a country? After this election, we have to live and we have to move on. And so, how are we going to be able to do that? That's how are people going to respond? Individual people, not just in our family. I know we talked last week about our family members, but we're talking about people walking down the street. I'm in Philadelphia, and we just had a case today where some people had a car outside of the polling where they were counting the ballots, and they had guns. And so, some of the thoughts that you could be feeling tonight are thoughts of fear, thoughts of worry. So, people may be thinking about, how am I going to be safe? How am I going to be safe? How am I going to do the things I need to do to protect my family? How am I going to protect my friends, my loved ones? So these are all the thoughts that some of you are having tonight. And I share in your thoughts tonight. I share in your concern. I share in your worry. But tonight is about getting our thoughts reloaded. Like we said last week, at the end of last week, one of our key action points was acknowledging how we felt and share it, talking about it. And I appreciate you sharing and talking about it with me for the past 3 weeks. We've been talking about this, but tonight I want to help us move as we're acknowledging it. How do we move from here? How do we move forward? How do we go into the direction where I can get my head back in the game and I can get my mind back online? So thoughts are powerful. Thoughts are very powerful. The NAACP said the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And so I don't think we realize all the time how powerful our thoughts are. I started thinking about the children's song, the children's book, rather, The Little Train That Could. And for those of you who remember it from elementary school, but if you don't, I'm going to tell it to you. Oh, thanks, Shalonda. The United Negro College Fund said that. Sorry, not the NAACP. Thank you for my correction. I love people making sure I get it right. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. But let's talk about the little train that could. The little train was going up and had a lot of stuff to carry. And the little train kept saying, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And it was the transition of thought. It was the exchanging thoughts that were defeating with thoughts that were promoting that allowed that train to transition and to achieve their goal. And so tonight, I want to help you, my friends, to get your thoughts reloaded, to get your head back online, just like I talked about that computer that went offline. It needs a reconnection. And so I want to support you tonight in that reconnection. So I started thinking about our minds, and I had this analogy. I like illustrations. And I said to myself, I said, our minds receive information. But I want to know tonight, my friend, is your mind like a door? Is your mind like a window? Or is your mind like a mail slot? And I started thinking about this because I started thinking about the way we receive information. I told you, your thoughts change your feelings change your action. And so, is your mind like an open door? Meaning, there are big things that come in doors, but doors can carry a lot of stuff through them. And so you tonight may be watching all kinds of shows, watching all kinds of news shows, watching social media, and we keep talking about it for the past couple of weeks. Your door is open so wide that all of information, positive, negative, good, bad, indifferent, up, down, in and out, you are finding that your mind is taking it in. And your mind is trying to hold all of this information that is coming into it. So for some of you, your mind is like a window. Now, a window is not as big as a door, but a window can still carry information. Like you can't get a sofa through most windows, but you can still get a lot of stuff in the window. And so the door mind and the window mind, they're good. But are those things that you are allowing to enter your mind causing you stress, meaning impacting your thoughts and making your thoughts not in line with what you really want to do and how you really want to be? And so I would suggest that you create an avenue and make your mind like a mail slot. You may be saying, Nicole, a mail slot? Yes, a mail slot. One thing I know about the mail slot is that the mail slot only allows certain things in it. A mail slot has a cover. It's usually protected so that whatever comes in it will stay in it. The mail slot is a certain size, meaning that I can't get that big negative box in my mail slot. I can only get little things. And even if a negative thought slides in my mail slot, it won't be but so big. And so I want to talk to you about why. Why do we need our minds to be like a mail slot? Some of you have expressed thoughts of fear. The thoughts are powerful. Some of you have racing thoughts, meaning that there's so many thoughts going on in your mind right now that it's very hard to clarify. It's very hard to figure out which thought is taking precedent right now because so many thoughts are running through your mind. Some of you may be having depressing thoughts, meaning thoughts where you are not feeling that there is hope. There is hope in tomorrow, that there is hope in the future. Some of you are having thoughts of doom and gloom, meaning that I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And some of you are having thoughts of insecurity, meaning that you are not finding safety in your surroundings, whether it's in your environment, whether it's in your relationships, even in your own self. So some of you, all of these thoughts, when they come, these we call them negative thoughts. I would say, they're thoughts that cause us a lot of problems. They're thoughts that cause us a lot of drawback. They're thoughts that may cause us to not achieve our goals. And a lot of times when we have these thoughts, we often say to ourselves, I'm not blank enough. I blank meaning fill in the blank. I'm not smart enough. Not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not wealthy enough. I'm not enough. And when we have these thoughts, it can lead our reaction to our reactions. It can lead us to our brain, our thoughts, our positive thoughts, our executive functioning, meaning the part of our brain that really, really figures things out for us. It can cause that disconnection, just like the computer trying to reload that page. Our brain's connection can be interrupted by stress, and it can influence our negative thoughts to the point where we are saying things about ourselves, about our lives, about our future that we had never intended to say. And so our thoughts can lead us to react instead of responding. Bishop Michael A. Blue said that. We want to respond, meaning the situations that are coming up once the election is finally settled, once you find out that you might have lost your job, once something happens in your life, I want to know, are you reacting or are you responding? A reaction is a knee jerk thing. It happens very quickly. And a lot of times it's because we think that there is no solution. We think I have to do something. We think, oh my goodness, I'm in danger. Let me get this out. Let me get away from here. Let me get this over. Let me react. Let me react. Let me get out of here. Or do we respond? Are we in a place where we can take a moment to sit back and think, how should I move forward? And so tonight, let's talk about our thoughts. Let's continue to explore what it means. Thoughts of something being wrong, thoughts of fear, racing thoughts, depression, doom and gloom, insecurity. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. Can lead to our body's need to prepare for danger or to prepare for a reaction. It puts us on high alert. It causes us to release. Our body is so equipped. It releases cortisol into our system, which prepares us for fight. It increases our heart rate. But then there's other things that can happen when we're on high alert, when we are fearful, when we are upset, when we are angry, when we are frustrated, when we are stressed out. It can also keep us up at night. It can hinder our ability to go to sleep. It can keep us from getting the proper rest that we need so that we can think clearly when we wake up. And though studies have shown that thoughts about things that are good can lead to a decrease in cortisol and a production of serotonin. And that's another chemical that's in our body. And this chemical gives us a sense of well being, a sense of peace, a sense of calm. And so, what I'm saying is that the brain can actually impact what is released in your body. Your thoughts can influence what's going on in your body. Has anyone ever out there ever been scared or nervous and now your stomach is in knots? You were hungry, but now you're not hungry anymore. Your appetite is gone. Or what about this past week? Like I said earlier, have you been so stressed out that now you're eating things that you know aren't good for you? Because your body is trying to make up for what's going on. How are you feeling? How is it connecting? Our prefrontal cortex, this is the part right here of our brain. This is the great part of our brain, is where we have our most brilliant ideas. Oh, I see Jessica saying me. I know what you're talking about. Yes, Jessica. How has this been impacted this week by the things that have been going on in your life? Have you found yourself going into a place And you might have heard people say, and maybe you've said it in the past, that when this situation or when this thing was going on, I just blacked out. I just blacked out. And when I came to, I realized what I had done. I really wasn't thinking at the moment. I wasn't thinking. I was just feeling and I was just reaction. I was just screaming. I was just hollering. I was just having a moment. We need to get our thoughts reloaded. We need to get our heads back online. We may see a lot of things that are going on in the world, and we have feelings about it. We have emotions about it. But tonight, our time together is to get our head back in the game, get our head back online, get that connection so that I can achieve the things that I set out to achieve before this week and this election happened. We need our prefrontal cortex back online because it helps us to make accurate assessments. It helps us to solve complex problems. It helps us to respond to the things that will be ahead of us, the days that will come. It will help us to recognize trouble, and it'll help us to know how do I approach it in a proper way, in a way that's most beneficial to me. Remember, are you the door? Are you the window? Or are you the mail slot? Are you the one that everything someone comes and tells you, everything that comes your way, you soak it in, but you find yourself being overwhelmed by your thoughts? Maybe you're the one this week that watched every news channel. You watch ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox News. You just flipped from channel to channel to channel. You were wide open. Your door of your mind was wide open, and now you're at the end of the week, and you're even more frustrated because there is no answer to who won the election as of yet. Maybe you're the window. You've been trying to be careful. You've been trying to be mindful, but the closer it got to Tuesday, you found out that I couldn't kind of totally break away. And you've received some information and you're still worried, not as worried as the open door, but you're still having stress. You're still trying to find it difficult to reconnect. Maybe you're the mail slot. And even though you're careful, you've been very careful with the information that you've allowed to come into your mind, the thoughts that's come into your mind this week, you still recognize that you still have some worries, some concerns, and some fears. It's time to reload your thoughts. It's time to recognize that your body responds to what's going on in your mind. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of studies. I've been hearing it all week long. Change your thoughts, change your thoughts, deal with your thoughts, deal with your thoughts, deal with your thoughts. But some of us are so afraid of the things that we're thinking, we don't want to touch it. What are you thinking tonight? What do you have to reload? Which of those thoughts, fear, racing, depression, doom and gloom, insecurity, I'm not enough, which one of those thoughts has been prevalent this week for you? You may have another thought that I didn't even mention. Drop it in the chat. Let me know what thoughts have been on your mind this week. I want to switch and I want to talk about why it's so important to bring ourselves back in alignment. Thank you, John. The body responds. Yes, the body responds to the mind. And that's really why we need to have this conversation tonight, because the body responds to the mind. In addition to we've been talking about stress for 3 weeks. We've been talking about the impact of stress, how stress impacts family relationships, how stress impacts friends, how stress impacts. But I want to really get down to the point that if you stay under stress in your mind for a long period of time, it can impact your physical body. You may find yourself not feeling well. You may find that pressure right here, that pressure right here. Some people feel it here. Some people feel it in their stomach. And you may say, well, I haven't, I don't know what it is. It's your thoughts. It's your thoughts. And so we're going to work tonight. We're going to do some work. It may be a little uncomfortable because you have to work at changing your thoughts. You have to work at reconnecting your brain in a new way. You have to transition from the door, transition from the window, and now be very diligent about what comes into your thoughts. That's not always easy if you've been doing it for 10 years. If you've been having these thoughts, and this is how you've always operated, Dr. Nicole, this is how I've always operated, and it's worked for me, or I think it's worked for me, or it feels like it's worked for me, but I'm just used to doing it this way. Then, friends, we have to change our thoughts. Thoughts reloading tonight. So, as always, I'm going to talk to you about the action you can take because thoughts are powerful and your mind, your thoughts need to come back online. We need to reload them. We need to reload them. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to mind your mind. I want you to take time to think about what you're thinking about. That sounds strange. That sounds weird. Yes, think about what you are thinking about, meaning take the time to reconsider your thoughts. If your thoughts are racing, you may not really recognize what you're thinking in the moment, but there are some things you can do. You can journal. Journaling is a great way to mind your mind. When you journal, you write down your thoughts, you write down your feelings, you write down what's going on in your life. And through the art of journaling, and don't just write it, and going back and reading what you wrote, you can start minding your mind. You can start reviewing what's going on in your head, the thoughts that you're having. Journaling is a powerful way. Sometimes minding your mind is scary. Yes, thank you so much. Sometimes minding your mind is scary, Shalonda, because I don't want to really admit what's on my mind. I don't really want to confess. I don't want people to know, but this journal is yours, your private journal. Dear friend, if you're going to reload your thoughts, if you're going to get your head back online, your mind back into the game, this may be a scary feat to actually write your thoughts down and to imagine and read what you're really thinking. But I can tell you that as you do it, it will help you move in the right direction. Some of our thoughts are scary because we feel like I don't want to say what I'm thinking. Because if I say what I'm thinking, then it's going to happen. But if I don't say what I'm thinking, it's going to live with me and it's going to be there. And I don't have a way to get it out. And so, the first action step that I want to give to you tonight, friends, if we're going to get our thoughts reloaded, if we're going to get our head back online, our mind back in the game, is we need to mind our mind. We need to journal, write it down, get a private book. I have many journals, but one of my journals actually has a nice little lock on it. if you keep it in a secure place. Some of you may not be a great writer. You may say, Nicole, I don't want to write. Well, then you don't have to write it. Do a talking journal. Talk right in your phone. If your phone has a recorder, talk in your phone, but get those thoughts out of your mind. Get those thoughts out of your mind so that you can clear some of the thoughts that you have out. The next thing I want to tell you is okay, so you're minding your mind. You're starting to journal. You're starting to write your thoughts down. You're starting to get those thoughts out of your head and on that piece of paper, and you're reading it. You're reading it and you're recognizing it. And one of the great things about journaling is that if you journal consistently, it's amazing how that process of life happens, and you may go back and read your journal and find out where your mind was and how you transitioned it and how your mind got back online and how you were able to achieve. And it is so encouraging to read. You may say, well, what if things don't change? But even when I mind my mind and journal, it gives me such a great comfort to know that I'm still alive. I'm still living through. I'm still resilient. I have these problems, but I'm still here. Mind your mind. Write down your thoughts. Mind what you're thinking about. Think about what you're thinking about. The next thing I want you to do is to mind your messaging. I said thoughts are very powerful. Is your message to yourself, I can't or I can? That little train that could, the reason why that train could, it wasn't that the train necessarily had the size. It wasn't that the train was better than any other train, but the train had a message. And that message built momentum. And that momentum moved that train forward. And so the second step that I want to give you tonight is mind your message. Mind the things that you are saying to yourself about yourself. Mind the things that you're saying to yourself about your life, your situation, your environment, the people around you. Mind your mind. Use words like I can, I hope to, I want to, I hope, I believe, I wish things would get better. I hope they get better. I can do this thing. We're reloading our thoughts. We're not staying in the place where our thoughts are telling us that we can't. We're transitioning now, and our thoughts are now going to I can. We're minding our message. We're getting our head back online. We're getting our focus back, and we're getting our focus back because we have things to do. There was a place you were going before the pandemic, there was a place you were going before the election, before racial injustice, before multiple police brutalities. There was somewhere your mind was, and your thoughts were, and your actions were. And I'm telling you, it's time to get your mind back online. Those things are still there for you, my friend. And so, mind your mind and mind your message. Watch what you are saying to yourself about yourself. And then the last thing I want to tell you tonight is mind your business. Not the way we normally say that, mind your business, like uh don't mind your business. Not in that context, the way we say it when we're talking to somebody, like mind your business. But in a way I am kind of saying focus on your mental wellness. Mind your business. You are your business. You are the one. If you were an entrepreneur and you had a business, you would invest time, you would invest money, you would invest resources into your business so that your business can grow. I want you to mind your business. And my friend, you are your business tonight. I want you to invest in yourself. I want you to find resources that you need. And I want you to take care of yourself so that you can grow. This is about getting our thoughts reloaded. This is about recognizing how stress has interrupted our ability to move forward, our ability to get those things, those plans, those ideas done. And so tonight, I want you to focus on your mental wellness. Just by reason of you sitting here and talking with me and listening, you are focusing on your mental wellness. I always talk about when we go on the plane, and I know you've heard this analogy a million and one times, but it bears repeating. When you are on the plane and they tell you if the cabin loses oxygen, okay, and we know that oxygen is very important for our brain. Can't think if we don't have the right oxygen. Okay. It says mask will drop. Make sure you put on your mask before you help someone else. Right? You've heard that. I've heard it if you've been on the plane. Might have heard it on the commercial. What are they actually saying? They're saying there's no way for you to take care of anybody else before you take care of yourself. If you want to take care of others, and some of you have dreams and ideas about supporting other people, but the best way to support other people is to support yourself. Mind your business. Mind your mental wellness. Mind your thoughts. Mind your message that you're saying to yourself, and you will be able to take care of all of those things that you want to take care of in life. The election's over. It's time to reload, friends. I want you to put in the chat box, tell me something that you want to do. Tell me something that you want to do, you planning to do, but you feel yourself stuck. You feel like I was on my way. This is something I really want to do, but I find myself stuck right now. I find myself stuck. I don't know how I'm going to move forward. This the things that have been going on, I've been stressed. I'm just stuck, Dr. Nicole. Tell me what you have in your mind to do. Me, I'm going to start with me, and I'll give you a moment to think, and don't be shy. I've had books that I've been writing, and every time it seemed that my thoughts were connecting to completion of the book, some type of stressor would always come in and interrupt me. Every time it felt like, oh, I'm going to do this idea or that idea, some stressor would come in and seem like it would interrupt me. And that's why, friends, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to me too. It's time to reload, time to get these thoughts in order so that we can get our head back online. Back online. Sleep. Yes, yes, yes. I want to sleep too, Yunta. I want to sleep. And so we know that stress can interrupt sleep. That's why I have to mind my mind. I have to get those thoughts out. I have to watch my messaging about my life, about the things that I expect or anticipate. No, we can't speak about everything. We don't know everything. But sometimes I take my mind places that I don't even have information for. One of my key things I like to say is prove that. Let me prove that. I don't prove that that's going to happen. Prove that that's true because my mind can take me places. What are some things that you want to accomplish? You want that mind to be reloaded. You need your thoughts reloaded so that you can get to where you need to be. Eating healthy and exercise. Yes, Jessica, that can be a challenge, but that goes into the thoughts. That goes into connecting my thoughts, connecting my body and my brain, knowing that we're one. My body and my brain are connected. And so how would it change my thoughts if I ate better? How will my thoughts change if I got more exercise, if I got that release of that stress that often keeps me bogged down, that keeps me, like I said, grabbing for the snacks as opposed to grabbing for the healthy foods? How could healthy eating improve my thoughts? This is really about understanding that life is not going to stop happening. I'm not trying to tell you that there won't be any difficult days ahead. I really hope that they're not for you. But if there are some difficult days ahead, if life continues to occur and you have good days, you have bad days, you have unexpected situations, unexpected circumstances, things that may interrupt what you have plans for, how can you acknowledge it? How can you acknowledge the fact that, yes, I might be stressed, but then I need to get my head back on in the game. I need to get my thoughts reloaded. I need to get back online because the longer that I wait, the more damage I'm actually doing to my body. The more stress that I'm going from tolerable stress to toxic stress because of long term worry, long term fear, long term depression, long term being down on myself, not thinking I'm good enough. And the question is tonight, how do I get my thoughts reloaded? Our three action steps: mind your mind, get that journal out, get that journal, start writing. And even after the show is over, as you journal, I want to hear from you. I want you to email me, put it in the chat after, even after this episode is over, put it in the chat. I want to hear, Dr. Nicole, I started journaling and I found out that that was giving me a good release. I didn't realize how stressed I was and how much I was keeping inside. The next thing I want you to do is mind your messaging. Watch the words you use. Watch the things that you say about yourself. You want to go to sleep at night? Say, listen, I'm going to have a wonderful night's rest tonight. I am going to sleep because my body needs to rest. I am going to put my mind, I'm going to reload my thoughts. And even though I might have had a week of sleepless nights, tonight I'm going to say, you know what? I am going to sleep well tonight. I am going to go to sleep because I'm going to journal before I go to bed and I'm going to release all of those things in that paper, in that pen. And I'm going to lay down and I'm going to sleep. Mind your mind, mind your message, and then mind your business. It is your business to take care of yourself. My friend, no one is going to do it for you. We love when we feel like people are going to take care of us, but people can only take care of us to the extent in which they're able, which may not be all that we need. We are the first ones responsible for taking care of ourselves. So let's get our heads back online. Let's get our thoughts back together. Let's get ourselves in a place where we are not stuck anymore. I heard a lot of people coming up to this week saying things like, oh, I just can't wait till the election is over. Oh, I just can't wait till the election is over. And that's how we're thinking. Well, it's over. And now we hear people like, oh my goodness, I just can't wait till we get to the results. Oh my goodness. And it's almost like we're going from the next one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Friends, cover the top of that mail slot. The election voting is done. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. But where's your mind going to be once the decision is made? Time to get your head back online. Because regardless of who wins, you will still have to live your life. Regardless if you think it's going to be beneficial for you or if it's going to be horrible for you, you still have to manage your thoughts. And this is going to be important. This is going to be important for you moving in the future. So, friends, thank you for being here for the first topic that we've really covered. And I appreciate this covering of the election stress. But as we are reloading our minds and we're getting our heads back online, we're going to journal, we're going to watch our messaging, we're going to practice mental wellness. we're going to move from this topic. And next week, we're going to start talking about this season that we're going into. This season is the holidays. And for some, this is a joyous time. For others, there's a lot of pain in the holiday season. But here on the Headshots podcast, we want to touch base with you about what is ahead. This is a holiday season like no other, just like this was an election season like no other. And here on Headshots, it's my heart and my desire to really speak to those areas of mental health and mental wellness that are relevant to what we're going to be going through. And so next week, we're going to start our series, Tis the Season. And I like the song, Tis the Season to be jolly, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. But this is the season, Tis the Season. So next week, we're going to start our conversation talking about COVID and crisis and Christmas. Oh my. This is going to be a holiday season like no other. And on here on Headshots, we want to prepare you. I know parents, you may feel like, oh my goodness, my kids, they've gone through so much. And I can't do for them like I used to because we've gone through so much. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give you some tips of how to survive this season. As I'm sitting here and thinking about the fact that I'm not, my routine will be changed. My travel plans won't be the same this year. And so I want to help you. We want to help you through this season, this holiday season that is unprecedented and like no other. So, like us on Facebook, go to our page, Nicole G. Johnson, Counseling and Consulting and Headshots Podcast, and join us. Go to our YouTube page, the Headshots Podcast, and join us. Subscribe so that not only you can join us for the live videos, but even during your week. Let's say your week is going on and you need to replay this video because you need to remember, well, what did Dr. Nicole say about getting my head back online, getting my reconnection, getting that page loaded, getting my thoughts loaded again. It'll be up here for you so you can replay it anytime you want. You may have a family or a friend that was not able to join us tonight. It's okay. They can read it. They can watch it in the replay. You can share it and you can have somebody get this good information. Help them to get their head back online. I know you've been talking to family, you've been talking to friends, you've been that ear for someone. And they have not been able to really get detached from this whole election thing and it sucked them in. Share the podcast with them. Let them know that they can do some things to get their head back online. So thank you for joining us once again. And remember, it's a 1 hour conversation. It's our desire to improve your look and your outlook here on the Headshots podcast with Dr. Nicole. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week at 6 p.m. next Friday.